Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Can you all please turn on the cameras? Thank you. Hi, Shruti, Rashika, can you all please turn on the cameras? Okay, I'll be sharing the.
Mama.
Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yes, it's in the full screen, right?
Yeah.
Hi, okay. All right, thank you. Yes, so shall we begin now? Or
Yes, Ashmat, please go ahead.
yes, ma'am, sure. Okay, so hi everyone. So I am Ishmat. I work as a psychologist at Listen. So today we'll be going to talk about theories of development, under which we'll be talking about Erikson's developmental stage and Piaget's cognitive developmental stage. So does anybody of you have any idea about the theories of development?
Yes, ma'am. I've done the Piaget's cognitive developmental theory.
All right. So would you like to say something about the theory?
Basically, it's about clear-cut stages. It's divided into four stages of child's cognitive development.
Yes.
The sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, operational stage, and then formal
Formal
operation
and
and
concrete.
operational stage.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll get into the deeper meanings of each stage. But yeah, overall, it's just about biological maturation happening in clear-cut stages from one stage to another. And every stage has to be fully developed in order for the child to move on to the next stage.
Next. Yes, yes. All right. Anybody else would like to put the input? All right. Anybody else wants to talk about Erikson's stage of development? Okay. So we'll begin with the Erikson stage first. Yeah. My slides are moving, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So today we'll be talking about the developmental stages, right? So first we'll go with the Erikson psychosocial stages of development. So basically, Erikson has divided his developmental stage into 8 stages. So today, briefly, we'll be talking about his developmental stage first. Right. So here are the 8 stages which Erikson has talked about. So first will be the infant stage. From first will be the trust and mistrust stage, and which start with the age of 0 to 18 months. And the second stage is autonomy and shame. Third one will be initiative versus guilt, and then industry versus inferiority, then identity versus role confusion, and for so on. So we'll be moving into all stages in details. So the first stage is trust versus mistrust, right? When we talk about trust versus mistrust, what do we exactly mean, right? सो यहाँ पे बेसिकली क्या होता है कि ये स्टेज हमारा 0 to 1 ईयर के बीच में फॉर्म होता है. सो जब हम मतलब बहुत ज्यादा जब बच्चे छोटे होते हैं, राइट, बिटवीन द एज ऑफ 0 to 1 ईयर, तो इनका इंडिकेशन क्या होता है बेसिकली, इनको जो भूख लगती है दे विल स्टार्ट क्राइंग, राइट, एंड इफ दे वांट समथिंग सो दे विल स्टार्ट क्राइंग, राइट. और जो फर्स्ट केयर गिवर होता है, इट लाइक मेजरली अगर हम अपनी सोसाइटी में देखेंगे तो इट्स मदर ऑलवेज, राइट. सो जब बच्चा रो रहा है उस टाइम इफ मदर विल कम एंड होल्ड हिम और हर अप, तो वहां पे क्या डेवलप होता है, एक बच्चे का ट्रस्ट बिल्डअप होता है, राइट. एंड दे नो ईच टाइम व्हेन दे आर गोइंग टू क्राई द मदर विल ऑलवेज बी देयर, राइट. बट अगर वहीं पे मदर विल बी वेरी इग्नोरेंट अबाउट द चाइल्ड व्हेन ही क्राइज, तो वहां पे क्या होगा, दे विल डेवलप अ मिसट्रस्ट with the mother. So like each time when they'll cry, maybe they will over the period of time they will understand कि मम्मी नहीं उठा रही है. So over the period of time they will develop mistrust. So क्या होता है basically, जब हम when we grow up, जब हम बड़े होते हैं हमारी पर्सनालिटी डेवलप होती है, तो this is one of the factor जहाँ पे हमारे this is one of the factor which really plays an important role into our personality, कि हमारा फ्यूचर में जाके अटैचमेंट स्टाइल कैसे बनेगा अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ, केयर गिवर्स के साथ. It sometimes it's secure attachment style, at times it's avoidant attachment style. और ये बेसिकली हमारा फाउंडेशन बनाता है ट्रस्ट का. जब हमें यहाँ पे ट्रस्ट नहीं मिलता है ज्यादा अच्छे से, तो वो हमारे फ्यूचर में इम्पैक्ट करता है. एंड दिस इज वन ऑफ द फैक्टर. आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि मेजरली यही इम्पैक्ट करता है, बट एक ये फैक्टर होता है जहाँ पे हमें ट्रस्ट फाउंडेशन बिल्डअप करने के बाद अगर हम नहीं कर पाते हैं तो उसमें बहुत डिफिकल्टी आती है. Slides are not moving. So it's written here, importance of caregiver responses. Why is it important कि हम अपना emotional bond बना सके अपने parents के साथ, and have a secure or healthy attachment relationship with the parents. So second stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. So this stage we majorly start with the age of 1 to 3, right? So I hope you will be able to read the definition and will be able to comprehend everything. But let's take an example यहाँ पे, right? अगर एक बच्चा है and उसको भूख लग रही है, and by the age of 1 to like 2 or 3, most of the child start eating by themselves, राइट. तो वो अपने आप से खाना खा रहे हैं हाथ से या स्पून से. और जब वो खाते हैं, अगर उनके पेरेंट्स उस चीज में उनको इनकरेज कर रहे हैं, इफ दे आर देयर कि हाँ बेटा ठीक है, इट्स ओके, यू आर लाइक डूइंग गुड, तो वहां पे उनका क्या बिल्टअप होता है, वहां पे उनकी इंडिपेंडेंसी बिल्टअप होती है, राइट. वो ऑटोनॉमी बिल्डअप होती है वहां पे. बट एट द सेम टाइम अगर वो डांट के बच्चों को बोल दे कि व्हाट आर यू ईटिंग, तुम पूरे में फैला के क्यों खा रहे हो, लाइक यू डोंट हैव सेंस टू ईट, if they will shout at the child at the same time, तो वहां पे the child will start having doubt on themselves, और वो एक shame डेवलप हो जाती है वहां पे, जो कि आगे फ्यूचर में हमें डिसीजन मेकिंग में बहुत ज्यादा, जैसे व्हेन वी ग्रो अप अगेन, इट बेसिकली इनडायरेक्टली और डायरेक्टली इट अफेक्ट्स आवर पर्सनालिटी ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. और जब हम ग्रो करते हैं वहां पे क्या होता है, हमारा डिसीजन मेकिंग स्किल बहुत ज्यादा कभी कभी वीक होता है. लाइक वी मस्ट हैव सीन हमारे फ्रेंड्स, कलीग्स और लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल अराउंड अस जिनका डिसीजन मेकिंग किसी का बहुत
Ma'am, I
ज्यादा.
had a doubt.
यस.
Ma'am, autonomy is independence, right?
यस.
So a lot of time independence is formed, you could say, because of neglect. Because when a child is neglected, then they have to sort of figure out how to do things by themselves and how to find opinions and um find a way around the world by themselves, right? So wouldn't that also be autonomy? So little like
Can you please come again?
so okay. So I'm saying that आपने अभी बोला ना कि like autonomy is formed when encouragement
Yes.
मिलता है and like थोड़ा सा like you give them nourishment and you give them like
Correct.
right, but also autonomy can be formed when people are showing neglect or people are showing
Yes.
the ignorance towards them. Because
Yes.
ignorance will cause them a way to find try to learn things by themselves and to be more
Yes.
self-independent and self-reliant, right?
Yes.
So wouldn't neglect also like in a way
Yes, it
abuse and
does.
neglect also find
Yes, it does. So you okay? Yeah, you were saying something.
No. I was just asking.
So basically, आपने सुना होगा about the term reinforcement, right?
Yes.
So there are two type of reinforcement. एक
Positive,
होता है
negative.
positive, एक negative. So at times, so like हम जो मेजरली अगर हम अपने आप को देखें या हमारी सोसाइटी में देखें, जब हमें पॉजिटिवली कोई ज्यादा अच्छे से ज्यादा प्यार से बोलता है तो हम उस चीज को बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं, राइट? वी गेट इट इन अ स्ट्रेट वे. बट या एट द सेम टाइम यू व्हेन यू से इट कि हाँ नेगेटिवली जब डांटते हैं, स्कोल्ड करते हैं, उससे भी ऑटोनॉमी आती है. सो यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. जब हम नेगेटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट देते हैं उसके बाद भी हम देखते हैं कि परफॉर्मेंस किड्स की बहुत ज्यादा अच्छी होती है एट टाइम्स. So it depends ki how you would like to take it. At times one individual can work wonderfully when they are being negatively reinforced.
Ma'am,
And
can
also
I?
sometimes. Okay.
Okay,
Go.
no, go ahead, go
No.
ahead.
No, but I was.
I
Yeah.
just had another point to add to this, like so that we could make it a discussion. Like when it comes to what your point is, right? Like I can understand when a child would face neglect, they would resort to other ways to get their thing done, or like
Yeah.
form independence and stuff, self-control, like it's stated here. But again, at the age of 1 to 3, when a child literally cannot even comprehend sentences or even comprehend behavior,
Yeah.
at the moment I feel like ma'am also said, the decision making is so weak that they don't understand the concept of taking the high road or just ignoring the neglect, because they think that that is where shame would form, because they think they're doing something wrong and their care
Yes.
is saying that it is a wrong thing to do. So I think, and what even in the statement that is written, when they begin to explore their environment and assert their independence, like because they think that the world around them is theirs, right? When
Yeah.
we're very young, because we don't have that idea that we're just a really small piece of dust in this entire universe. We think that this is our world, and we try to make hold of everything, try to touch everything. And if we're shouted at instead of encouraged to explore more and assert independence, then we would form that sort of like at the age of again two to
Again, yeah.
it's not about, I'm sure what you're saying is also completely understandable and reasonable at an age where you can understand what to do about it, where at the age of maybe 7 or 8 or further after that, I think that is more applicable at that age rather than from
That
one.
makes sense. I didn't think about that actually. Yeah, you're so right. No, but at also on that note, so like when you said infant to 18 months trust versus mistrust, wouldn't also like similar ideas, like because like when you're so young, you don't really have like memory is not formed properly, comprehension is not formed properly. So how can like a small child distinguish between trust versus mistrust? And even if they at that moment feel like neglected or you know um they should be forgetting all that, right, by the time they're 18 months or 3 years, because there is no memory, there's no proper development of their brains, no cognitive like development that has happened.
What I feel is that like because at that age children are also trying to identify and categorize whether like these are my caregivers or just strangers that I've just seen. And at that age we don't know who our parents are, so we form reliance to the most primary caregivers, and by the term caregivers we expect care. And
But
I think
either way you'll forget about that, right,
we
within a
forget.
few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
But
forget our.
it's there in the unconscious.
Yeah, it's like it's a consistent reliance on these like people that are always there in your life, and then that's why you keep forming that dependency, and when it's taken away from you, that is when you form that mistrust. So obviously not the complex emotion of trust that you feel at later ages as you grow older, but like just the basic trusting that you'll take care.
Yeah.
I think it's
You
something
must have seen at your home if you have kids or your siblings kids. So when the mother is around, so majorly हमारी society में what happen is mother is always the first one who will be there. So when mother is missed, even she goes to the washroom, and even when she went out for a smaller thing, the child will start crying then and there only. Why? Because they have the sense of that she's going away.
Yes, yeah.
That they think that she's getting separated from us.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So हाँ, so this stage, autonomy versus shame and doubt. So basically, when we grow older, right, at the age where most of the personalities are formed, यहाँ पे at times we have seen कि it's very difficult to make certain decisions in our life, right? And that happened with most of people. But there are certain type of people जो बिल्कुल ही कोई decision they can't make even a smaller decision for themselves. So it kind of the autonomy and shame which we had in the early childhood, it kind of affected towards the our growing years. So the next stage is initiative versus guilt. And yeah, so this stage start at the age of 3 to 6 years. यहाँ पे majorly क्या होता है कि बच्चा see, so if we'll go with the definition, तो यहाँ पे अगर if we are able to initiate something, right, अगर suppose कि there's a play or some house party or something we are organizing at home, so if bacha will be there, the child will be there, and if they want to initiate कि हम we'll plan it like this, पहले हम ये करेंगे, then we'll do this, then we'll go about the certain things, right? So if they are taking the initiative, and if parents are encouraging them, that's really wonderful, you have taken the initiative and I appreciate it, and they take it, they take the decision which they made, right? The child made. तो वहां पे क्या होता है, बच्चे को एक सेंस ऑफ वो कॉम्पिटेंस एंड सक्सेस आती है कि ओके, सो माय आइडियाज आर गेटिंग एक्सेप्टेड. एंड एट द सेम टाइम अगर बच्चे को बोल दिया जाए लाइक what are you up to, if they make him feel, him or her, like this is very ridiculous, what are you doing? So the child will become like, a child will be he or she will feel like कि हमने क्यों करा, why did we even initiated this, right? So it's always they will think as of कि there's a feel of being judged by other people. सो इन द लेटर स्टेज वो उनको वो गिल्ट रहेगा कि जब मैंने लास्ट टाइम इनिशिएट किया था कोई चीज, तो आई हैव नॉट बीन अप्रिशिएटेड अबाउट दैट. So later on in the life they will not take the initiation initially. So initiation कहाँ पे लिया जाता है majorly हमारी leadership skills पे. जब हम when we go to the school, जब हम school boys और girls बनते हैं, team leaders बनते हैं, तो वहाँ पे भी we feel very कि the fear of being judged is there always. कि जो last time it's there in the conscious, right, कि हमने एक decision लिया था घर के मसले में, and but the parents said they shut me down, so I'm not going to take this initiative. So it affects the leadership skill in the later stage. So here is it: encouraging initiative versus exploration. So it's a foster a supportive environment, creating a nurturing and supportive environment that encourages and the creativity or exploration of the kid. So the next stage of Erikson is industry versus inferiority, or industry versus inferiority. So this begins with the age of 6 to 12. ठीक है? So basically इस age में हमें क्या होता है कि राइट, सो अगर हमें कोई होमवर्क मिलता है क्लास में सपोज, ठीक है, और अगर हम उस होमवर्क को बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हैं, बहुत चैलेंजिंग टास्क था, लाइक ऑफ आवर एज, जैसे हमारे एज के हिसाब से इट वी गेट अ वेरी चैलेंजिंग टास्क कि आज हमें ये करना है, दिस होमवर्क वी हैव गॉट, वो कंप्लीट अगर बच्चा कर लेता है, राइट, और अगर टीचर उसको टीचर और बीट पेरेंट्स अगर वो उसको शाबाशी देते हैं, दे विल लाइक कि हाँ यू हैव डन अ ग्रेट जॉब, तो द किड विल फील द सेंस ऑफ कॉम्पिटेंस, और मतलब उसको ही और शी फील द सेंस ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियस की yes, I've done something very great, and teachers and parents are encouraging me. But at the same time अगर बच्चे को बोल दिया जाए, even if he had put a lot of hard work in that, but then he or she will be said like कि आपने this is not great, whatever work you have done is not good, तो वहां पे क्या होता है, बेसिकली बच्चे को inferiority आ जाता है. So the next time he or she won't be able to do anything without उनको बार बार reassurance चाहिए होगा कि if I'm wrong or right, I'm doing it fine or not, right? So if we'll take it like children at this stage become increasingly interested in mastering new skills, accomplishing tasks or achieving goals, right? यहाँ पे हम अलग अलग goals set करते हैं, इस वाले age में हम बहुत सारी चीजें explore करते हैं, right? So they develop a sense of industry by applying themselves diligently to tasks and projects, whether academic, private or like social.
Ma'am, even that's why in like preschool children, that's why they are so adamant on giving those good remarks or like stickers on your hand, because that praises the child and makes them believe that they've done
Yes.
something good and they
Yes.
wish to
It's now
participate.
there in schools, yeah. But earlier, like it's like, ha, theek hai, you have done good job.
Exactly. So that's why it should be promoted even more, because then
Yeah,
children feel like they haven't done a good enough job or
yeah, yeah.
could have done better.
They like now children get a star on their hands as well. कि अगर if they have done something good at school. So the next stage is identity versus role confusion, which start at the age of 12 to 18 years. So does anybody wants to have some input about this thing? Identity versus role confusion. We must have gone through this phase. Yes, Zara.
Yeah, so mainly it's also about like in this adolescent stage, you're not only figuring out like who you are, but also like what you want to do, what you stand for. And a lot comes into this, like your own self identity, even your like gender identity, whatever orientation you want to go for.
Yes.
I think that children of this age and teenagers are figuring out, and a lot of social, cultural, even biological factors to that extent affect or play a factor in how you perceive yourself. So yeah, and that could lead to some problems as
Yes. या सो बेसिकली इस स्टेज पे क्या होता है ना, हम बहुत सारी चीजें एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, राइट? मोस्ट ऑफ अस की हमें कौन सा स्ट्रीम लेना है स्कूल में आफ्टर पासिंग द क्लास 10th, और आर हॉबीज, या फिर हम कभी कभी फैशन, न्यू फैशन स्टाइल, और हमें कौन से सोशल ग्रुप में रहना है या किससे बाहर रहना है, राइट? ये सारी चीजें भी फॉर्म ड्यूरिंग दिस एज, कि हमारे फ्रेंड सर्किल कैसा होना चाहिए, दिस ग्रुप जिसमें हम इन ग्रुप हो, इधर से हम आउट ग्रुप होने चाहिए, राइट? सो हम इस चीज को बहुत ज्यादा एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, और अगर हम किसी स्टेज पे फिट हो जाते हैं या किसी ग्रुप में फिट हो जाते हैं, तो वी फील द सेंस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी कि हाँ, नाउ वी हैव अ आइडेंटिटी, हम इस ग्रुप से बिलोंग करते हैं, राइट? नाउ आई हैव अ आइडेंटिटी, आई हैव टेकन द साइंस स्ट्रीम, राइट? बट अगर हम इस स्टेज पे बहुत ज्यादा स्टक रह जाए, यहाँ पे हो जाता है हमारा रोल कंफ्यूजन, राइट? हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि हम लाइक विच प्लेस डू वी बिलोंग्स टू. सो बेसिकली एंड दिस विल जब हम लेटर ऑन हम अपने लाइफ में आगे बढ़ते हैं, राइट? हमें जब करियर चॉइसेस बनाने होते हैं या लेट्स से रिलेशनशिप चॉइसेस बनाने होते हैं, तो वी गेट स्टक देयर. अगर हम इस वाले स्टेज को क्लियरली पार नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो इट काइंड ऑफ अफेक्ट आवर जर्नी व्हेन वी ग्रो अप. कि हमें व्हेन इट कम्स टू करियर चॉइस, हम सब में अपने आप को एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, बट वी आर नॉट एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई कि हम कहाँ से बिलोंग करते हैं, right? So we must have seen 12th class के बाद और 10th class के बाद a lot of kids come with कि हमें career counseling चाहिए, we really want to understand कि हम कौन से stream से belong करते हैं, जहाँ पे they will go for aptitude test and so on. So the next stage is intimacy versus isolation. So this stage start with the age of 19 to 40. राइट? सो इस स्टेज में क्या होता है मेजरली कि हम अपना मतलब सेक्सुअलिटी एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, या फिर हम एक काइंड ऑफ रिलेशनशिप बनाते हैं जहाँ पे विच इज़ वेरी क्लोज एंड मीनिंगफुल रिलेशनशिप विद अदर पीपल. And there are at the same time there are people जो बहुत ज़्यादा isolated रहते हैं, the one who doesn't want to be included in any social group, and the one who doesn't have much interest in having a sexual partner, or let's say the close and intimate relationship with someone. So they get isolated, and the other ones who are able to have a good relationship, so they have a better intimacy with the people, right? तो basically जो इस स्टेज में स्टक हो जाता है, it's very difficult for them to bond with people, or create a meaningful and very mutual connection with someone. So later on in this stage, when an individual gets stuck in this stage, वो क्या होता है, these people most of the time end up not getting married or not settling down in their life. While seeking intimacy, young adults also aim to maintain a sense of independence and autonomy within their relationship. right? They strive to balance their own needs, goals, identities with the need and desire of their partner.
Ma'am, could you just repeat the last thing that you said or just point to whatever part it was? I didn't read that.
This one, okay. So while seeking intimacy, young adults also aim to maintain a sense of independence and autonomy. Like we are in a relationship, but we want to have our own identity, right? They strive to balance their own needs, goals, and identity with the needs and desire of their partners. So like intimate relationship involve emotional closeness, mutual trust, and sense of commitment between partners. During the intimacy versus isolation stage, young adults actively pursue romantic relationship and seek out opportunities for emotional connections and intimacy. Right? And like it's very important to explore this part of our stage, I guess, because at this stage we get to explore the orientations as well. Ki hum, like a lot, we might have, born up with a particular gender or whatever, but then we never know which is what is our orientation. At this stage, a lot of people get engaged in, identifying or exploring their orientation as well. Yeah. So next stage is generativity and stagnation. So when we talk about generativity and stagnation, it happens it start in the middle adulthood, right? Which is the age of 40 to 60. So मेजरली स्टेज पे क्या होता है, जो मिडिल एज लोग होते हैं, राइट, वो वॉलंटियर करते हैं. दे कम अप, जैसे लाइक 40 में तो लोग डजंट गेट रिटायर्ड, बट वो वॉलंटियर करते हैं अपने आप को. लाइक 50 के पोस्ट 50 तो लाइक आई हैव सीन 50-55 मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल गेट रिटायर्ड, राइट. तो दे आइडेंटिफाई, वो क्या करते हैं, हमें फ्यूचर की जनरेशन के लिए वी हैव टू गिव समथिंग, राइट. हमें अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन देना है, ठीक है. तो इन दिस स्टेज बेसिकली क्या होता है, दिस स्टेज इज कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय अ डिजायर टू लीव अ लास्टिंग लेगेसी और मेकिंग मीनिंगफुल कंट्रीब्यूशन एंड नर्चरिंग एंड वेलबिंग ऑफ अदर्स. सो जैसे इफ यू मस्ट हैव बीन फॉलोइंग पेरिस का भी ओलंपिक, राइट, we all have seen 58-year-old lady who was, I guess, javelin throw or something she participated, or some game she must have participated. So she's actually, being a symbol of, she's leaving a legacy, right? Ki at the age of 55, 58 or something, when she is able to contribute to the society and give it to the next generation. So like she's creating that, right? And the other stage comes, and the other thing in this stage comes is stagnation, जहाँ पे the adult people think कि वो कोई contribution कर ही नहीं पाए सोसाइटी में. There are people who must have done job for the entire life, but उनको they're not able to make a meaningful thing out of their job, right? It's just they're doing it for the sake of doing it, for the sake of living, or suppose for the sake of just earning money to get everything done. बट वो मीनिंगफुल कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं दे पाते हैं या लास्टिंग लेगेसी नहीं दे पाते हैं, तो वो स्टैग रह जाते हैं उस स्टेज पे. एंड लेटर ऑन ये क्या हो, ये जब जब आई मीन जब हम थोड़े और बड़े होते हैं आफ्टर 50, 50+55 में, तो ये इनका बेसिकली वी आर नॉट एबल टू बिल्ड दैट कनेक्शन विद द जनरेशन, राइट. एक तो ऑलरेडी हमारे में जनरेशन गैप्स होते हैं, राइट. एंड इफ अगर हम कोई चीज कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं कर पाते हैं अपने जनरेशन में, तो दैट इज अगेन मेक्स अ वेरी बिग डिफरेंस, कि ना तो हम मेंटली लाइक थॉट वाइज भी हम वी आर नॉट एबल टू मैच दिस किड्स, एंड ऑल्सो बाय नॉट कंट्रीब्यूटिंग एनीथिंग टू द सोसाइटी.
So the midlife crisis comes around this
Yeah.
age. Okay. Interesting.
So the last one is integrity versus despair. So they start at late adulthood, which is like 65 or beyond, right? So यहाँ पे बेसिकली क्या होता है कि जैसे सपोज हमारे नाना जी दादाजी जो होते हैं घर पे, राइट, वो रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं अपनी लाइफ में कि उनकी लाइफ, डू दे फील वेरी कंटेंट विद लाइफ, लाइक वो ऑनेस्टली और अपने प्रिंसिपल्स पे अपनी लाइफ जी पाए हैं या नहीं, राइट. एंड फिर अगर वो जी, अगर इफ एंड इफ एट ऑल दे आर एबल टू लीव एनी लेगेसी बिहाइंड, राइट? तो उनको क्या सेंस होता है, उनको इंटीग्रिटी सेंस होती है, लाइक कि हाँ मैंने बहुत ऑनेस्टली एंड आई मैंने बहुत मॉरली अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दिया है टू द सोसाइटी, टू माय होम एज वेल, राइट? बट एट द सेम टाइम अगर जो नहीं दे पाता है उसको डिस्पेयर होता है, ठीक है, सेंस ऑफ लाइक कंप्लीट लॉस ऑफ समथिंग और एब्सेंस ऑफ होप इन द लाइफ, कि मैंने आई एम नॉट able to do anything, I have missed out on a lot of opportunity which when I have been given. So there
So,
comes the regret.
is it like disappointment, being disappointed with what you've achieved in life?
No, basically not disappointed by what they have achieved, but what they are not able to achieve, so they have that kind of regret कि
So
मैंने,
it's kind of like regretting what you could not do.
yes, why I was, they might feel very despair कि मैं क्यों नहीं focus कर पाया when I have been given opportunity to do something. Right, it's written here. So accepting morality, late adulthood brings a heightened awareness of morality and finite nature of, like we must have seen Nanaji or Dadaji most of the time what they do. So they have a certain rule for the entire day. They will wake up in the early morning, है ना, जैसे पौधों को पानी दे दिया, और they take shower early, पूजा पाठ कर ली, right, और थोड़ा walk कर लिया उन्होंने. So they have एक पूरा दिन का, they have the proper schedule for the entire day.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, sure.
Ma'am, so you said that, in old age, how they reflect upon what they couldn't do in their life before. Yeah, but not everything is possible in the life, right? Like
Yes.
something or the other would be there which you couldn't do, which you would regret. So
Hmm.
wouldn't despair be a part of everybody's life, like a little bit?
At the same time, if I would like to say कि जैसे हमें जब regret होता है ना, you see most of the I mean जो late adulthood में होते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, वो बहुत ज्यादा माला जपेंगे या they'll be very spiritual during this time.
This is
So
not spiritual,
maybe
huh?
somewhere down the line they are they are like on a verge of decreasing that regrets कि मुझे regret ना हो whatever I have missed upon. So like I have seen like my my grandparents are going through this right now.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I also add on to that?
Yes.
So like she said, the like not everyone would have to feel despair,
Yes.
and like that's why there are two extremes. Like you can either focus on the integrity side of it and sort of reflect on your life and impart the wisdom that you've gained from your experiences onto the newer generations, or you can be stuck on the fact that there were certain things that you couldn't achieve, or there are the awareness of mortality, for example, like you're closer or nearing to the end of your life, so that would also be a very like a strong feeling after all. So it gives you that feeling of despair, like what if there is something left to do. So that feeling, I think, comes with the fact that life is short, but at the same time you could focus on the integrity side of it and focus on the good stuff as well.
So it is all about the perspective.
Yeah. सो वी मस्ट हैव सीन कि बहुत सारे ऐसे बूढ़े बुजुर्ग जो लोग होते हैं हमारे घर में, दिल भी लाइक कि हाँ मुझे माफ कर देना फॉर माई वट एवर मिस्टेक्स आई हैव डन, या वो लेट गो करने लग जाते हैं बहुत सारी चीजों को, एंड टुवर्ड्स द एंड दे आल्सो फोकस ऑन कि मेरे जो बच्चे हैं उनके रिलेशनशिप्स अच्छे हो जाए. दे ऑलवेज ट्राई टू वर्क ऑन दिस कि जो भी उनके सिबलिंग्स के रिफ्ट्स होते हैं दे ट्राई टू सॉल्व इट आउट, अगर कोई लाइक वट एवर द फैमिली इश्यूज एंड एवरीथिंग. So next is about Piaget's cognitive developmental theory. So, okay, so since we have finished on Erickson's developmental psychosocial stages, so does anybody have any questions through 8th stage?
Ma'am, were there 8 stages or 7 stages?
There were 8 stages.
Could you just quickly just show
Yes.
that once again, please?
Yes. I will. Just a second. Just a second. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, but I think it's zoomed in now.
It's
For me,
all
for
stuck. Just a second. Correct. Yes.
Also, stagnation was a lack of satisfaction, right, with their life. Like,
Yes.
and despair is just
Regrets.
regrets. So stagnation does not include regrets because stagnation is also sort of regrets, right?
Yeah, but yeah. So they, kind of get tagged there. Like, when they think that they are not able to, contribute enough to the society.
For despair
Yeah.
it, it's like
It's stagnation.
or
it's like
stagnation.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
despair is when they have regrets that they are not able to do certain things in their life.
stagnation is sort of like a disconnect or like distancing
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
from
Correct.
contributing to society, right? And despair is more like internal feelings of what you couldn't.
Distancing yourself.
Yeah, so like see, generativity is about what you can generate or what you can contribute to the society or future generation.
And
And
stagnation is you're not able to form any, connection with the future generation.
so you
Oh,
sort of go stagnant from your like surroundings. You just sort of
this. Okay.
yeah, sort of disconnecting like from future generations. And again, like she said, where you there's a generational gap where you can't connect with other people's like your newer generation's beliefs and values. That's where you're like not even trying to get to that point, just gone stagnant.
Okay, but the other side was that feeling like you're not done enough or feeling not satisfied in
Yeah,
your
and
life.
despair, I personally think integrity and despair are both very internal feelings, right? So
Yes.
integrity is something that, and it's even nearer to the end of your life. So
So there's a
despair,
time clock, so it's more intense,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. It's
So
way
we
more.
must have, seen that Maslow's hierarchy, where
Mm,
self-actualization is there on the top.
yeah.
So when we actualize ourselves, जब जहाँ हमें ऐसा feel होता है कि we have done everything, so that's integrity.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we have regrets, कि we have missed out on doing something, that's despair.
Okay. So sort of they're connected, right? More or less. Stagnation and despair. Because despair is just like a more intense feeling of stagnation.
It's a feeling which, yeah, it's an internal thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, is it possible that stagnation could actually it could turn into despair? So it's like if a person like if stagnation continues for that person, it could turn into despair like that, right?
Sorry, I could not. Can you please come again?
A person's stagnation could
Yeah.
turn into despair over time, right?
A person's stagnation. No, so they are totally different stages. Yeah.
No, but if it continues, if stagnation continues for the person,
Yeah,
then
then it
over
becomes the regret.
time it could
Yeah.
become despair, right?
Yes. It can become
Okay.
regrets. So shall we move again?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Most welcome. Yeah. So Piaget's cognitive developmental stage. So anybody else would like to give their contribution for Piaget stages? No, right, okay. So the crowd is very silent. Okay, so Piaget's theory is totally dependent on the cognitive development. It's not the one which we have studied about. Erickson's was psychosocial, and Piaget's is on cognitive development of a child, right? So there are 4 stages in Piaget's. So basically, his theory focus on not only the understanding how child acquire knowledge, but it also based on the nature of intelligence of an individual. Right. So we'll be going on in the 4 stage. So first stage is sensory motor. Second one is pre-operational, then concrete, and then formal operation. And to go on the next stage, it is mandatory for an individual to, when they complete the first stage, then only they'll be able to move on the other stages of their life. So first one will go like sensory motor stage, right, which begin at the age of 0 to 2. So here, acha, would anybody, any of you would like to say कि 0 to 2 years के बीच में majorly क्या होता है बच्चों के साथ? Yes, Ashita.
During this stage, children mostly experience the world through their senses and they try to interact with objects, and that's how they form their idea of the world.
Yes, yes. Zara.
Yeah, similar thing, and like it's written on the slide as well. Object dominance is the one main thing that they actually do at that time,
Yes.
and which is the understanding that objects exist beyond your perpetual field, and understanding that just because they're not in your visual diameter, they would still exist beyond that. I think that's one of the main cognitive things, but what Ashita said is like the sensory motor is one of the main aspects of their understanding of the world around them.
Correct, correct. Anandita.
They both covered a lot of my points, but another thing is curiosity. I think when you're in your infant stages, you are very curious of everything that's around the world. You're trying to hold object, feel object, smell object, understand what these objects are, because you do not really have an idea of right or wrong. So you're like curious and more like willing to understand and learn about everything, because this is your first time sort of interacting with this world, right? So yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So basically स्टेज में क्या होता है, सपोज we'll talk about it with example only, ठीक है? जैसे 8 month का एक बच्चा है, right? And if he or she have a particular toy जिनके साथ वो खेलते हैं, and if at times you must have seen कि हमने उसको छुपा लिया, like hide कर दिया under the pillow or something like bed sheet or something, तो उनको लगता है it's not there, right? The object doesn't exist only, but over the period of time क्या उनको, I mean what they develop is, even if it's not there in front of their eyes, as Zara has already talked about, कि अगर वो उनके आंखों के सामने भी नहीं है, but the object still exists in the world, it's still there. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, बच्चों को ऑब्जेक्ट परमानेंस होती है, राइट? सो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट यहाँ पे कौन सा होता है कि ऑब्जेक्ट स्टिल it exists, the realization that object continue to exist even when they are not visible, even when they are not tangible, they cannot touch or see the object, but still it's there. And also हमारा sight, sound, yes Zara.
No, you can continue. I had another thing I just remembered about this stage, so you finish it and then I'll add.
No, you can go ahead, it's okay.
Another thing I remembered is egocentrism is also like starting at this stage, correct?
It start at another stage, the pre-operational one.
Pre-operational stage.
Yes,
Okay, so just to clarify, there are 2 other things that you'll get into in the pre-operational stage, right? The centration, the irreversibility.
Yes, correct.
So those 3 are for that stage. Then I've got it for this one. Okay.
That's in pre-operational. So basically, and यहाँ पे हमारे कौन सी चीजें डेवलप होती है? टेस्ट बर्ड, स्मेल, टच, साउंड एंड साइट एज वेल, राइट? सो लाइक यू मस्ट हैव सीन कि बच्चा अपनी माँ के टच को बहुत अच्छे से दे अंडरस्टैंड इवन व्हेन दे आर स्लीपिंग, right? If you I've seen this, I've tried this ki, if you try to be their mother, right? Instead, if mother must have gone to the washroom or somewhere, right? Or agar aap unke paas rehte ho, but still the child will, tap their hands ki she's not my mother. So they develop a sense of touch also during this stage. Yeah, it was in pre-operational, Zara. So this is the second stage. It begins at the age of 2 to 7, right? So basically pre-operational में क्या होता है कि हम जो 2 से 7 साल के बच्चे होते हैं, they almost play with everything, right? वो खेलते हैं, वो concrete thinking करते हैं, उनको बस ये लगता है कि जो चीजें exist करती है, these are only the things, right? And the ones who doesn't exist, वो उनके बारे में they cannot think about those things, right? So their thinking is still egocentric, meaning they have a difficulty seeing things from perspective other than their own. उनका एक particular perspective होता है. Suppose क्या होता है, let's take an example. अगर mothers heels पहनती है, right? And बच्चा will also wear that heel, and she or he will pretend to be like कि हाँ हम उतने बड़े हो गए जितने कि हमारी mother है. But it's only with a height, right? But height से भी उतना नहीं होगा. So they have their perspective, which cannot be changed. तो अगर आप उनको suppose आप glass दे रहे हो, एक glass which is जो चौड़ा है and one glass which is very long, right? तो अगर आप उसके water को like बड़े वाले glass के water को छोटे like the one who has a bigger width उसमें डालोगे तो child will think that similar amount of water is there, right? So they will not be able to understand कि शायद लंबे ग्लास में ज्यादा पानी होगा या चौड़े ग्लास में ज्यादा पानी होगा, right? So they have their own perspective. Yes, Zara.
Ma'am, I think it was the opposite way. Like the experiment of that lack of irreversibility was that there was one tall glass and एक छोटा से beaker था, and then it was the same amount of water. When they put it in the tall glass, obviously the height was bigger because it's a slimmer glass.
Okay.
And when they put it in the bigger beaker, it was smaller. Like the height was smaller, but the amount of the water remained the same.
हाँ,
So
but
when
the child will reply like it's same only because उनके पास they have lack of conservation or centration, right? उनको नहीं पता कि conservation कितना होगा, तो उनको
And
yes,
they will say that they're different because they will not understand ki, like the height and the width, they'll think it's the
It's the
same amount.
results of
okay, so it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I must
Yeah.
have yeah.
the results of that experiment turned out to be that the child was unable to identify that the water
Yeah,
remained same. They
Huh.
said that the taller beaker is with more.
Yeah, it will consume more water. Yeah.
Even though because they couldn't do the logical math that the
Maths,
same
yes.
a bigger beaker would be.
So though, yes, now I get it. Thank you so much for correcting me here. So yeah, a lack of conservation is there with a child. So during the pre-operational stage, children's language skill develop rapidly. They learn to use words, sentences, and they kind of express their thoughts as well, their desires by saying it. वो 3 words को अच्छे से join करके sentence बनाते हैं, वो images को they start identifying या or they can represent object, event, or idea.
Another doubt. So sorry.
Yes,
You told that in this pre-operational stage, their perspective is not easily changed, right?
Hmm.
Yes. But also, aren't kids known to be very malleable? Like, if you tell them that something is wrong, they're like quick to change their mind. Like, I feel like as we grow older, we have more like stubbornness that my way is the right way. But when you're a child, I think you're very like, easily you can easily be convinced to like believe in a different route, right?
Yeah, again, but then you must have seen एक बहुत ज़्यादा stubborn child होते हैं. You cannot, go with them. It's like कि नहीं ma'am, if I'm saying this is only correct.
That depends person to person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that again depends person to person.
And
Okay.
The theory about Piaget was that these are naturally happening in a child. So, like, what you're saying is right, because when it comes to surroundings, like, if a surrounding is affecting that, like the maturation or that stage development, then obviously the child is very malleable. Like, they could change their perspective. But what Piaget said was ki if you leave the child on their own, like if you don't have any intervention, and if you just observe their, because his theory originated from his own 3 children that he did experiments on.
Yeah.
And he left his own children. Yeah, he left his own children in like complete
Like
development of
abundantly, yeah.
like biological maturation, because his theory was that children will mature automatically and without any social or environmental or cultural factors intervening.
Sarah, you already know this all.
Because I did this in my course, so I didn't know the Erickson's theory actually, so I am learning, but then stuff I know is also sort of solidifying.
Either
But
way, it's very impressive.
thank you so much. That's not why I'm participating. I just really like discussing these concepts, and like, yeah, like I said, this where they're very egocentric or they're very like stubborn about what they think or they know is only because they're biologically meant to mature that way or develop that way. And when a parent or when a teacher or someone who knows better intervenes, then they could change their perception like that.
Thank you, Zara. Okay, so the next stage is concrete operational stage. Yeah, so this begin at the age of 7 to 11. यहाँ पे मेजरली क्या होता है, एक जो बच्चा होता है उसकी कॉन्क्रीट और दे थिंक लॉजिकली और अबाउट द कॉन्क्रीट ऑब्जेक्ट एंड इवेंट्स, सो दे गेन अ बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कंजर्वेशन, राइट. उनको पता चल जाता है ठीक है इसमें पानी कम है या इसमें ज्यादा है बिकॉज द शेप एंड साइज डिफर, right, and can also perform mental operations like with a thing which are concrete. What are concrete things are the ones which are real and tangible, which they can see on and feel, right. So यहाँ पे मेजरली क्या होता है कि सपोज अगर हम चॉकलेट दे रहे हैं, राइट, और उस बच्चे ने चॉकलेट को ब्रेक कर दिया, ठीक है, बार को लाइक इट्स इन द पीसेस, तो चाइल्ड स्टिल फील द सेम, द चॉकलेट इज इन द सेम अमाउंट, ठीक है. सब्ट्रैक्शंस में यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आती है बच्चों को, बट विद द टास्क लाइक एडिशनल टास्क दे डोंट फील एनी डिफिकल्टीज हियर. या So during the concrete operational stage, children's thinking become a more logical and organized. They can solve problem in a logical manner, but their thinking is still tied to concrete, tangible objects and experiences. So it's written there कि जो concrete है, which they can see and feel, which are tangible, वो उन्हीं के बारे में सोच के मतलब decisions ले सकते हैं और logically सोच सकते हैं और they can solve any problem. बट वो उसके बियॉन्ड नहीं सोचेंगे. अच्छा अगर चॉकलेट का रैपर टूटा है तो बार मस्ट हैव उससे कम हुआ होगा, एक चॉकलेट किसी ने खाई होगी, सो दे कैन नॉट थिंक बियॉन्ड दैट. So conservation. So the concept of conservation is a key milestone in the concrete operational stage. Children learns that properties such as volume, mass, number remain the same despite change in the form of appearance of object. Right? So concrete problem solving में क्या होता है? Children in this stage can apply logical operations to concrete problem. They can perform mental operations such as addition, subtraction, categorization with physical object and real life solutions. So the next stage is formal operation stage, which begin at the age of 12 and beyond, like 12 and up to, right? Anybody would like to talk about this? Okay, Ashita, yes.
During this stage, the thinking becomes more abstract and ideological, we could say. And from here, the logical thinking transfers into this hypothetical deductive model, where all types of solutions are, even though they're not tangible, all can be thought of, and accordingly, solutions can be.
Correct. सो बेसिकली इस वाली स्टेज पे क्या होता है, बच्चा विल स्टार्ट थिंकिंग हाइपोथेटिकली, राइट? दे हैव मेजर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ एवरीथिंग। आपने देखा होगा स्कूल्स में भी जब डिबेट्स में बच्चों को इस स्टेज में इस मेजरली इस एज के बाद ही बिठाते हैं, राइट, डिबेट्स एंड ऑल में, तो वो लॉजिकली उस चीज का आंसर दे पाते हैं। दे अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ जस्टिस क्या होता है, फ्रीडम क्या होता है, राइट? And also like this stage marks a significant shift from the concrete to abstract thinking, allowing the more sophisticated problem solving. Like they think beyond whatever is just seen, whatever is just concrete in front of them, right? Problem solving और बढ़ जाती है, और complex problems को solve कर सकते हैं, और complex concepts को they can understand during this stage. So hypothesis testing, the ability to generate and test hypotheses, is a key component of the formal operation stage. And adolescent and adult can, solve complex problem using logical reasoning during this stage. Okay, so we'll talk about the comparison and integration of both the stages, right? So first one will be similarities. ठीक है, सो दोनों में आपको क्या सिमिलैरिटी दिखी, दोनों स्टेज में, लाइक एरिक्सन्स में और पियाजेस में? ओके, सो बेसिकली हमें दोनों स्टेजेस में क्या दिखा है, ये डेवलपमेंट के बारे में बात कर रहा है, बोथ द स्टेजेस, ठीक है? एंड ऑल्सो इसमें बहुत सारे कैरेक्टर्स, sorry, so yeah, each stage represent a specific period in which in life and involve characteristics, developmental changes and achievements. So एक स्टेज से जब तक बच्चा मूव नहीं हो रहा है तब तक दूसरी स्टेज पे नहीं जा रहा है, ठीक है? और डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बच्चा डेवलप कर रहा है, ठीक है? इन बोथ द थियोरीज स्टेजेस आर सिक्वेंशियल, एक सीक्वेंस में जा रहे हैं, मीनिंग एन इंडिविजुअल मस्ट पास थ्रू ईच स्टेज इन ऑर्डर टू रीच द नेक्स्ट वन, ठीक है? दिस इज द सिमिलैरिटी बिटवीन एरिक्सन्स एंड पियाजेस वन. नेक्स्ट इज फोकस ऑन डेवलपमेंट. इन दोनों का डेवलपमेंट में फोकस है. एरिक्सन का है साइको सोशल डेवलपमेंट में, एट द सेम टाइम पियाजे हैव कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट में, ठीक है? तो जब साइको सोशल जब डेवलपमेंट होता है ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल विच एम्फसाइज द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ सोशल रिलेशनशिप एंड एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ द ऑन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ पर्सनैलिटी लेटर ऑन इन आवर लाइफ, ठीक है? एंड पियाजे में देन अगेन कॉग्निटिव डेवलपमेंट आया है. एंड इंटरेक्शन विद एनवायरमेंट, both theories recognize the importance of interaction with the environment. For Erikson, social interactions are critical, and for Piaget's, interaction with physical world and the object is essential for cognitive development, right? And here are the differences. Erikson में क्या था, it covers the lifespan, the entire lifespan, whereas Piaget में सिर्फ क्या था, एक childhood school गोइंग बच्चों के लिए और एंड एडोलेसेंट डेवलपमेंट के लिए उससे बस कॉग्निटिव के 4 स्टेजेस बताए. एंड नेचर ऑफ स्टेज क्या है एरिक्सन में, क्या है, इट सेंटर्ड अराउंड रिजॉल्विंग स्पेसिफिक साइको सोशल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. जैसे हमें फ्यूचर में जो ट्रस्ट वर्सेस मिसट्रस्ट होता है, शेम, ऑटोनॉमी, डाउट, सो इस चीज के बारे में ही इज टॉक्ड अबाउट. एट द सेम टाइम पियाजे ने क्या बताया है, दिस स्टेज बेसिकली वाज बेस्ड ऑन क्वालिटेटिव चेंजेस इन कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटीज ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल. Again, primary focus Erikson का था emotional and social development, Piaget का was intellectual development, and methodology क्या थी, based on theories of psychoanalytical principle, जो कि extended Freud's idea into social and cultural context. And in Piaget's, use naturalistic observation, as we have talked about it, and clinical interview with children to develop his theories, focusing on how they solve problem and understand concepts. Okay, so next we'll move on to developmental concept. We will move on. यहाँ पे we'll do some question and answers. Okay, so everybody ready for the question answer round?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first question: during which age range does the trust and mistrust occur? Yes. Zara, go ahead.
0 to 1.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Everybody can unmute themselves and answer. That's okay. Yeah. Next question is, what is the primary developmental task during autonomy versus shame and doubt stage?
To assert independence.
Sorry.
To assert independence.
Yes, absolutely. So the third question is, during which age range does the initiative versus guilt stage occur?
3 to 5.
3 to 6.
3 to 6. Yeah,
Years.
early childhood. Next one is, what is the key outcome for children successfully navigating the industry and inferiority stage?
A sense of achievement and also like their leadership.
Yeah, competencies. Yes, correct. So next question is, during which developmental period does the identity versus role confusion stage occur?
12 to 18.
12 to 18.
Are you sure?
Identity versus role, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 12 to 18.
Yes.
Adolescent age.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. What is the primary focus was there in intimacy versus isolation stage?
Building close personal relationships.
Well, also balancing independence and
Yeah.
Yeah. So majorly, agar if you would like to answer this question, we'll go with forming intimate relationship with other people, right? And the next question is, what is the key characteristics of generativity and stagnation stage?
Making like a lasting legacy and making contributions to future generations.
And helping guide the next generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
During which life stage does integrity and despair stage occur?
6 to 5 and beyond.
Yes. So proud of all of you.
Thank you.
So we are done with the question answer round as well. No, we are not yet done. Okay. So there are, yeah. Okay. So who would like to answer this? First question, what is the primary developmental milestone during sensory motor? Sensory motor?
Object permanence.
Correct. So during which age range does pre-operational stage occur?
2 to 7.
2 to 7.
Correct. What cognitive abilities are developed during the concrete operational stage?
Conservation.
Logical thinking.
Yes.
Logical thinking.
Logical thinking about concrete events, or understanding the concept of conservation again. Next question is, at what age does the formal operation stage typically begin?
12 years and up.
12 years old.
Well,
What is a key feature of thinking in formal operational stage?
Abstract thinking and complex ideas.
Yes, abstract and reason hypothetically.
no, deductive reasoning is formed at that stage.
Yes, correct. So I suppose we are done with the question answer round now. Yes. Okay, thank you everyone for being so participative. So yeah, anybody has any question? Anybody would like to say anything towards the end of the session? How was it? How did you guys enjoy? Or
Yeah, I personally enjoyed it a lot because cognitive development is one of my favorite chapters. Like even when I was studying for boards, I think that's very evident to most of the people here that I really wanted to speak a lot for Piaget. But I did learn about Erikson's psychosocial theory. I was aware of it, but I did not know the main details. So I'm really glad that I got to understand really well.
thank you so much. And it's very, very nice hearing this. Okay, so you all have done your schooling, right?
No, some of us are still in school.
Okay.
12.
Okay, so you're in 11th, 12th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, even I've graduated right now in college, first year.
Okay, you are in graduation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. The crowd is interesting here.
Ma'am, could you please repeat formal operational stage?
Okay, then I'll have
Like just open that slide for once.
Yeah, sure. This one?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So what do you want to, ask in the stage or the
I
entire
want
stage?
to read it for once.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Done?
Yes.
Okay. Shall I stop sharing now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Yes. So, did you guys enjoy the session and the entire thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody has any input to say? Zara, Anandita, Ashita, you were being very active during the session. Thank you so much.
Most like it's my pleasure. It's not even
Yeah.
I can't say you're welcome, and I was having really fun talking about all of it. So
No, it was very interesting. This is completely new for me because,
Okay.
yeah, so quite intrigued.
Okay.
When
Sure.
I did these chapters in 11th, also like developmental psychology, that whole chapter was like my favorite throughout the whole year. So this topic's quite interesting for me too.
Okay. That's great.
Wait till you all know. It's just me who doesn't know what is chapter.
Are you in a different code?
yeah, I took up psychology in IB, so I had
Oh.
this entire.
All right, then we'll wind up the session now. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. It was so nice talking to you all.
Thank
Bye
you, ma'am.
and take care.
Thank
Most
you.
welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.